Well, hello. Isn't it wonderful when you have a cut in power just before you're about to go live? I was getting things set up and I lost power. Electricity just glitched, and it reminded me I need to possibly get a better power surge protector on my system here, because nothing's worse than losing power and frying your computer. So I hope you guys are doing good. We're back. Show number 239. And I think perhaps I may have confused a few people because I had mistakenly left 10:30 p.m. as the time slot for today's show when it actually was AM. So hopefully more of you will trickle in if you get the message. How's everyone doing? How was your week? Are we ready to talk about some gear? I know I am. I want to know what you guys have been up to this week, so pipe in. Let me know. We have a show that's going to probably last about an hour today, and I have a few interesting things that I want to talk about, and just want to make sure all you guys are doing well. Anybody here from California? I know we did have, I think Presley was from California, and I don't know if Presley's here today. I hope he's doing okay. With all the craziness that's happening in California, I hope he's out of harm's way and doing okay. If anybody is in touch with him, or anybody else here from that neck of the woods, let us know what's going on. It's pretty scary stuff. That's all I've been hearing over the news this past week. And I've been watching the videos, and it's pretty like sad and just heartbreaking to see everything gone. It looks like the place was hit by a bomb. So hopefully everybody that's in that area or close to that area is safe, and not just you, but your families. I know a lot of people lost homes, and it's just crazy, man. But I actually even saw a video that was posted by Joe Bonamassa. Did you guys see this? A couple of people, Joe Bonamassa posted a video, Phil X also posted a video, a few other people in that area. And Joe was, it's a scary thought when you see somebody that has an amazing collection of vintage gear like that in, close to the area that's being affected by the fires. I mean, could you imagine if he lost all of those amazing instruments? I mean, I'm sure he's got them all covered with some kind of a, some crazy insurance policy probably. But, just the fact that you're losing a huge chunk of history, because those things are, a lot of them are one of a kinds, So Charles says Seth is away from the fires and doing well. Good. Thanks for letting me know, Charles. If you talk to him, tell him that the boys from Addicted to Gear hope he's doing well and everything's good. Yeah, so when I saw that video from Joe Bonamassa, I'm like, if I had a collection like that of vintage instruments that are probably worth, I don't know, I'm guessing millions of dollars, I probably wouldn't keep them in my home like that. I'd probably have them stored away somewhere very safe. But then again, what's safe, right? You don't really know what's safe these days. Anyway, let's say hi to the boys that are here. So Ian's here, searching for Tone, is here as well. SB just dropped in. Steven, Ian, Charles, Dan, let's see who else. Wayne, Mark, Profile Productions, Boomerang. It's me, Don P. Paul is here as well. SB is here. Jack Collins, Ken. Good. I'm glad to see a lot of people here. And let's start with today's show. So I'm wearing my Peace pick guitar shirt today just to get into the mood and set the tone for what we're going to be talking about. Today's show 239. If you guys are new here, welcome. If you guys are regulars again, welcome back. And I'll be playing this guitar. Pulled it out of the rack today. I hadn't given this guitar much love, so I figured why not. More of an 80s vibe with this guitar. And I don't know what you guys are playing today. If you guys are strumming away while watching the show, let us know what you got on your lap. JP's here too. Hey JP, how's it going? Nice to see everybody here today. Good, fantastic. Now I did put a poll question out this week, and instead of waiting till the end of the show to address the poll question, let's hit it right away this time. Let's mix things up. I was thinking of, I had come across a couple of my guitars, and I realized that most of my guitars either have pickups that are covered, both of them, or both uncovered. And I don't usually go half Monty, you know. I either go full one way or another. And I was wondering if you guys do the same, or if you guys like to mix it up. Some of you might prefer to have, you know, one pickup cover on, one off, and maybe you guys feel the difference when you do that. Let me just do something here real quick, because it bothers me when I have this thing. I should have done it earlier, but like I said, I was scrambling because of the power outage. Let's see, how can I do this? Let me try doing it this way. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Yeah, let's try this. I'm gonna raise up my microphone here just a little bit. All right, is that better? Can you hear me better now? I felt it was a little bit, the volume was a little bit too low. Hopefully you can hear me okay. All right, so let's jump to the community section of the Addicted to Gear YouTube page and see what the results are for the polls. Poll question. So the poll question was, what's your humbucker pickup preference? Is it both pickups covered, both pickups uncovered, covered neck, uncovered bridge, or uncovered neck and covered bridge? Let me know what you guys prefer, or perhaps you just keep your guitar as is, right? You know, from the store, the way it came, the way it was born, you just leave it like that and you don't mess with it. I like customizing my stuff quite a bit, so if I have an opportunity to make things better, I will take that opportunity. And perhaps you guys, I don't know if any of you guys even hear a difference between the covered or uncovered pickup. Maybe you guys don't even hear the difference. Now, DMAX says most of his humbuckers are covered, but I'm not picky that way. If the guitar I wanted had uncovered, that's cool. Now, so you tend to leave your guitars like as they come, as they were born. You don't modify them in any way. I know some people that like to just uncover all of their pickups, so they'll just take the covers right off and go uncovered. Like, you know, this pickup here is uncovered. You can see it's a zebra pickup, but that's how it came. I didn't change that. The guitar came that way. I do feel like from an aesthetic standpoint, I do feel like the uncovered pickups look cool on certain guitars. Like in this guitar, I think if I would put a covered pickup in here, it wouldn't look right, you know? Whereas on my Les Pauls, I prefer covered. Excuse me. Now, a lot of times, you know, people will argue that there's not much of a difference, and I have to agree. Like, the difference is quite minimal, I would say. I think the material of the covers could affect the tone a little bit, specifically if you're using pickups that are nickel silver or brass. Sometimes it can affect the magnetic field of the magnet on the pickup and dampen the higher frequencies a little bit. But some people claim that when you take out the cover, it makes the pickup sound brighter. While other people have argued with me and say, no, when you take off the pickup cover, it actually makes the pickup sound warmer or less bright. You know, I tend to think that when you uncover a pickup, it actually sounds brighter, not less bright. So maybe I should try doing that on my neck pickup. I usually like my neck pickups to be a little bit more bright than they come stock. A lot of times when you have a humbucker guitar and you switch over to the neck pickup, they tend to be a little bit more darker or more muddy. So maybe taking off the covers on the neck pickup would help with that. But I would think it would look a little bit odd to have the neck pickup uncovered and the bridge pickup still covered. A lot of times you'll see, like even on the Jimmy Page Les Paul, for example, you'll see that he prefers to have the bridge pickup uncovered and the neck pickup covered. So I don't know. I mean, again, I don't really hear too much of a difference, in my opinion. But some people claim that you got to do it. So Ian says he'd never tried to take off or put on a pickup cover to notice the difference. I think you would have to really do a side-by-side comparison, Ian, to really hear the nuances. I don't think you would be able to tell if you if you try one guitar with, one guitar without, and try and compare. It really has to be the same pickup in the same guitar, and you have to kind of A/B both of them to actually hear the difference. I never did that test. Maybe one day I will and see. But I don't think it's at this stage worth the hassle for me. So if we go back to the questions, I'll give you the results. So 54% of you say that you prefer to have both pickups covered. Only 39% of you like them uncovered. I would have thought that the spread between covered and uncovered would have been less than that. 6% like covered neck pickups and uncovered bridge pickups, so Jimmy Page style, and only 1% says uncovered neck pickup and covered bridge. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I think it looks a little bit odd when you have, the neck pickup uncovered and the bridge pickup still covered like that. Eddie said, I swapped pickups and never heard a difference, he said. And Martian Murray says, I think I just want both covered or uncovered. I think that's typically the best, visually, aesthetically, I think that's the best option. You either go uncovered or covered, leave it at that. It's a little awkward to have one. It looks a little bit odd. And Paul says he watched a video with a test. The uncovered ones were just a tad tighter in the lows. The highs and mids were not different. So it's very minimal. Yeah, that's what I expected to hear. Here we had a comment from Vinny's World. He says, I like the uncovered look most of the time, but if it's a specialty cover, for example, Actives, some of the custom bare knuckle covers, or what Dylan Talks Tone is making, then I'd go covered. Uncovered EMGs still feel weird to me. I haven't seen many uncovered EMGs. Like, why would you even want to do that? I probably wouldn't do that. Yeah. Zach is here. Hey, Zach, what's happening? Good morning to you. Ian says his Gibson Les Paul Classic came uncovered. I often see the Gibson Les Paul Classics uncovered like that. And I do like the look on the Les Pauls. Like, I think it's nice to have one of each, I would say. And if I have to go covered, I always prefer, for me, raw nickel is my cover of choice. I'll take chrome. That's what you see most of the time. But if I have a choice, raw nickel is what I love. And I've mentioned that before. Yeah, I think Paul says aged nickel covers on a Les Paul look awesome. Yeah, I agree. I agree. That's my cover of choice, Mark. And even if they're not aged, you know, I've realized by using those type of pickup covers that they age really quickly on their own. So you don't really have to pay extra to get them aged. They'll age nicely within a matter of weeks even. Especially if you play the guitar heavily and you maybe sweat a little bit too much. Just get a little bit of sweat on those things and they already start getting grimy, but it's a good grime. I like the look. We did have a couple of other comments. Los Angelo says, I like the classic sound of covered. I don't try to make it sound what it's not. He says, give me those mids. So he prefers covered. And then someone else here said, unpotted, little to no wax, and uncovered. So he really wants to hear the raw sound of a pickup. I think there you would probably hear a lot more of a difference. If the pickup is unpotted and uncovered, then for sure you're going to hear a different type of tone coming out of those pickups. Unpotted like that, or just a little bit of wax, you probably would be struggling with some sort of feedback at higher gain levels. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Now Eddie says, if covers mattered, wouldn't there be a difference between chrome, nickel, or plastic? That's a good point. I think covers were initially just put on the pickups to protect the wires. The wires, we know that those wires are hair-thin wires, and obviously, you break a wire or something happens, you get some sweat in there or whatever, you can risk killing your pickup. So I think the reason why a lot of companies initially put covers on those things was basically to protect them. But along the way, some smart aleck, some egghead decided, you know what, I'm gonna pull these covers off because they look cooler that way. It looks more rock and roll, and then it became a thing. That's how things happen most of the time, by accident. Happy accidents are always good. So Paul says, I'm into retro guitars, and even though I have to change pickups, I find covers that are period correct to keep the retro look. A lot of people do think that that's the right way of doing it, and I agree. If your guitar is special in the sense that it's maybe a vintage correct guitar or a reissue or something like that, I wouldn't want to see pickups on that guitar or pickup covers on that guitar that don't match. Like imagine you had some kind of a reissue custom shop Fender Stratocaster, relic job type of thing, and you put a set of active EMG pickups in it. It would stick out like a sore thumb. If I wanted to have that active sound, I probably wouldn't put them into a guitar like that. Just to keep things, it would stop my brain from hurting every time I would look at that guitar. So guys, if you don't mind, just a little reminder, please give us a thumbs up if you like what we're doing here. Always appreciated to see those thumbs. And of course, if you want to support the channel, the best way of doing that is to share the news, get more people to know about the Addicted to Gear channel, and spread the word. And if you're not already subscribed, you know what to do. So thanks for the reminder, Rich. Sometimes I need to be reminded. So JL Trem says, I remember the olden days when we tried to keep our guitars looking shiny and new. I think a lot of people still do. I don't think anybody likes to have a new guitar dinged or, banged up. I think it's just, it happens eventually. And the first, like the song says, the first cut is the deepest. Well, the first ding is the deepest when you have a new guitar. It hurts. I've been there. I felt it. And it's never fun. But then once you have an initial ding on one of your guitars, the rest The rest are like, whatever. That's how I look at it. So, but I remember specifically one time. I'll tell you this quick story. I had an acoustic guitar, and this was in my my early years when I was still in my teenage years, and I bought a new guitar, and it was an acoustic guitar, and I didn't have many guitars at that time, and I cherished them all, and this one wasn't necessarily a high-end acoustic guitar or anything like that, but it was my acoustic guitar, my first acoustic guitar. I love this thing. I would take care of it. Anyways, I had it on a stand, and that's the first mistake. Is try not to keep your guitar on stands, said the guy who has 20 guitars on stands behind him. But I had them on one of those little, those little one guitar stand, not a multi-stand or anything, just a stand that holds one guitar. And I had it in my parents' basement, right? And I had it just sitting there, and it was by the fireplace. And a friend of ours was over who lived down the street, and she had, I think, her daughter's little boy or something like that. He was maybe, I don't know, 4 years old, 5 years old, or whatever. And so I was upstairs, and I was doing something, and he was over, and of course, as kids do, they like to touch things. And I still remember the sound that the guitar made when it fell over and hit the edge of the fireplace. I heard like a dong, like a resonant, deep gong, it sounded like, and I heard it from upstairs, third floor, and I'm like, oh no. I was like, oh, I knew what had happened even before I saw it. So of course I ran downstairs, and I saw my guitar just leaned over against the fireplace like that, and the kid just, he bolted. I guess he got scared or whatever. And I'm like, please don't let there be a ding or a dent on the guitar. And I remember I took the guitar and I went like this, and I could feel at about the 5th fret or so a really obvious and quite deep divot just on the edge of the fretboard. And every time I was like fuming. I was fuming that day. And every time I would run my finger down the neck, when I would play the guitar, I would feel that divot, and it would remind me of that episode. And it was like a harsh reminder to like not leave your guitar lying around, especially when there's young kids roaming the house like that, But thinking back on that today, if I had that guitar right now, I'd probably be able to repair that relatively easily. But back then, I didn't know anything about repairing guitars or anything like that, so I kind of had to live with it. And that was one of my bad experiences that I want to share with you guys. So learn from my mistakes. Keep your guitars in cases as much as you can. Searching for Tone says the first cut is the deepest. Sheryl Crow. Actually, Sheryl Crow, that's not the original artist, right? The first cut is the deepest is Rod Stewart. I don't know. Is he the original? Is that his song, or was that somebody else's song? I think it may have been someone else's song that he covered. But my favorite version of that song is always Rod Stewart, the Rod Stewart version. As a matter of fact, Sir Rod turned 80 this week, if I'm not mistaken. And he's still going strong, the guy. Look at him. Look at him go. Last I heard, he was doing a residency in Vegas. And that seems to be the trend when the old rockers get to a certain age, they get put out to pasture, and they do their thing in Vegas. But Rod's a cool dude. He's always been pretty cool. I love the stuff that he did with Ronnie Wood from the Rolling Stones. I love the songs that he put together when he was in the Faces. And yeah, he was a rocker. Well, I'm sure he's got lots of stories that we'd like to hear. So Steven says all of his guitars are in cases now. I moved in with a heavy smoker. And not the good stuff, he says. So your guitars are getting aged or pickled or seasoned. I really I'm not a smoker. So I really detest any kind of guitars or instruments that have previously belonged to smokers. If I'm buying a guitar and it's used and it's it's a smoker who owns the guitar, I'll reluctantly buy it because I know that once you bring in a guitar or even a case or something like that that's been in a smoker's home, amplifiers, they just absorb everything. It just becomes like infused, like I said, seasoned, almost like beef jerky. It just like gets in there and you can't get that smell out. Very difficult to get the smell out. So yeah. Davis is curious. He says, what guitar is in that cardboard box behind you? So as you can see, the room is a little bit of a mess. I was doing some other work in other parts of the house, so I had to kind of throw things into this room temporarily. And what's in that case? That is the Nova Sonic. It's the guitar. I reviewed that guitar on my channel, the Nova Sonic. Let me just see if I can get that link. As I always remind people, there's a lot of content on my channel. I have to type around my microphone because my keyboard's all the way down there. So yeah, there's a lot of content on my channel, so I encourage you guys to go and take a look. A lot of the stuff that I have lying around has been reviewed. The Nova Sonic is one of them that I reviewed, almost 7 or 8 months ago. I put the link in the chat for you guys. It's made by a company called Enya. And it's a really cool guitar. Somebody was asking about travel guitars last time. I believe I had commented on it, but we didn't. We got off on a tangent, and maybe I didn't actually go deeper into answering that question. But somebody was asking about travel guitars, and that one is kind of it's a travel guitar. It's a small scale guitar. They call it the Nova Go Sonic, and it's partially carbon fiber. And it's a cool little guitar. It sounds nice for somebody that wants something that they can just grab and go. That'll do the job. Searching for Tone was never a Rod Stewart fan, he says. And Eddie says, my dog peed on one of my amps. Took quite a while to get that smell out. Oh, man. What amplifier did he pee on and why? I hope it wasn't a tweed amp. Because, the tweed is like, it's fabric, really. Unless it's lacquered, and it'll just absorb everything. Oh, that's not a good thing. Every time somebody comes over, like, what's that smell? Sometimes it's fun to play that game. What's that smell with your gear? Just like take a sniff, see if you can identify the mystery odor. The only way one way you can get some of those smells out of your equipment is, or even cases. One trick that I like to use, first of all, if it's a smoke smell, you can take the case and leave it outside. The UV from the sun will actually make the smell evaporate. It works a lot better than trying to do it indoors. But what I like to do is sometimes I'll just take a Downy sheet, the dryer sheets that you put in with your clothes, throw that into the case, because it's really like those sheets have like a very pungent smell to them, right? They just saturate those sheets with some kind of chemical that's probably not good for you and toxic, but that's neither here nor there. Just dump that into the case and close your case for a while, and then it'll smell Downy fresh. Hey William, what's happening, dude? Presley's here. Hey, Presley, we were just talking about you, dude. How's it going? I hope you're doing well. We were worried about you, dude. We didn't know if you were in harm's way, and we were hoping you weren't. But Charles was nice enough to give us an update, and he says you're okay. So I'm glad to hear that. It's scary stuff, what's going on in your neck of the woods, man. So yeah, JP says, Leonard Skinner, what that smell? Yeah, I wonder if they were referring to dogs peeing on their amplifiers. Martian Murray says, I have a case that smelled like body odor from the time I bought it. I'll try the dryer sheet. Body odor? Really? You know, I always feel like the ones that smell the most interesting are usually the ones that come from China. There's a definite smell to guitars and cases that come from China. It's undeniable. You can smell it. I can tell you where a guitar is made. If you make me smell a guitar that's made in the US and a guitar that's made in China, and you blindfold me, I'll be able to tell you which one is which just from the smell. It's that distinct to me. I don't know if you guys ever realized that. I don't know why we're talking about this for so long, but it really is something that I noticed. You know, Les Pauls smell kind of like vanilla. It's not vanilla, obviously. It's the stuff that they spray on the guitar. It used to be nitro. I don't even think it's nitro anymore. But whatever it is that they're spraying on their guitars, it actually smells a little bit of vanilla. And I love that smell. And actually, if I'm not mistaken, I believe for a time somebody was selling some kind of an air freshener or a spray that actually smelled of Gibson guitars. I'm not even joking. Because a lot of people like that smell. I'd actually use that on some of the Chinese guitars. I just, spray the guitar in the case. I'm telling you, if that would come back, and maybe you guys can do a Google search. Maybe it still exists. Maybe somebody's still selling that stuff. I'd buy it. I honestly would. I'd buy it and I'd spray it on all the other guitars. Oh. So Presley says, oh, the fires. I'm north of the Golden Gate Bridge. No fires up here, he says. But my actual former home in Salmar did burn down. Oh, dude. It's hard to see your houses, gone, even if it's an older house. It hurts. Well, I'm glad you're out of harm's way, dude. It's pretty scary stuff what they're showing on the news. Now, I don't know if they're just showing the worst of the worst. They probably are. But I know at last count, there was a lot of people that had lost their homes down there. That's sad news. On the flip side, though, the good news is probably all of the P. Diddy evidence got burnt also. So P. Diddy's probably happy about the fires. Maybe somebody, I'm not going to start conspiracy theories here, but maybe, somebody related to the guy maybe helped out. So I'm playing this guitar, and this is not a paint job. It's a decal. I got this from a company that makes guitar decals, and I put it on this guitar just because the guitar itself, the original guitar, comes in this weird color. It's kind of like it's not even a red. It's kind of a salmon color. I don't know why they chose this color. It's kind of like an in-between color, And I never really liked the color, but I didn't feel like painting the guitar right away. So I said, you know what? I'll throw a decal on there. It matches okay. Not a perfect match, but from far it looks good. You know what they say? Good from far, but far from good. So I have a question for you guys. And you guys give me your opinion on this. But it seems to me like a lot of companies are jumping on the reissue bandwagon. A lot of people like Fender, obviously, Gibson, obviously, and now Gibson that acquired Mesa Boogie. I've heard that they're going to be re-releasing or relaunching the rectifier from Mesa Boogie. It seems like every day you hear of a new re-release of something. What do you guys think about that? Do you think it's a good move? And are you, would you be a taker if, Fender re-released something? Or it seems like there's always something new, and the re-releases keep getting more expensive also, right? So now that I heard that Mesa Boogie is going to be re-releasing the rectifier, does that mean that, it's going to be more expensive? Would you be a taker if they did that? A lot of people back in the day found the rectifier to be pretty cool as an amplifier, for example. I think if it's an amplifier that's a little bit more rare, like I think there's still a lot of rectifiers floating around out there. So it's not, I wouldn't consider it a rare amplifier. You can still get them pretty easily used. When they re-released, what was it? Was it the Mark C? The 2C, I think it was, from Mesa Boogie. That's a little bit more of a rare amp. So I can see why people would probably want to snag one of those up. But when it comes to guitars and stuff, would you be a taker, or do you think it's just a money grab? I think we're going to see more and more of them. I don't think that trend is going to go away, because it seems to be filling up the coffers. A lot of people still like to grab those things. The only reissue I have right now is a 52 reissue Telecaster, because I always liked the look of the 52 reissue Telecasters. Actually, I stand corrected. There's a 52 reissue. I have 3 reissues. 52 reissue Telecaster. I do have a Strat, made in Japan Strat, which is also a reissue, and the SG that I have, the Gibson SG, is also a reissue. So I do have 3. Now, I didn't buy them specifically because they're reissues, but, that was the model I was looking for. So that's what I grabbed. Now, Boomerang says he thinks it's great, but Rich says reissues are just money grabs. I guess it depends what it is. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see, for example, maybe Marshall, maybe even in the near future, re-releasing some of their old stuff. Like they had the Plexi, and they kind of released smaller, lower wattage versions of certain amplifiers, like the Studio Vintage, and I like that kind of stuff. And I think if you're going to try and find a vintage amplifier that fits the bill, you're going to pay a lot of money. There's a lot of older Marshall amplifiers that are floating around on Reverb and eBay and other places, and they're very expensive. So if Marshall would re-release something like that, I think there would be some takers. David said a company cashing in on nostalgia is nothing new. I don't think it will end anytime. I agree. I think it's going to be here for the long haul, I think. DMAX says it's not just guitars. TV shows are just copies of other shows, franchises. Films are the same. That's a very good point. Hollywood has run out of ideas a long time ago. Not a lot of originality anymore from the big companies, guitar media anyway. I agree. I think it has something to do with not wanting to take a risk. I think a lot of companies out there, things are getting a lot more challenging in terms of competition and being able to find a product that sells well. It requires a lot of R&D time to create anything new. A new guitar, a new amplifier, a new speaker, anything. So if you're putting in all that kind of R&D time and then it flops, you're kind of stuck. You're behind the 8-ball. If you're re-releasing something that's already been a hit, it's kind of like making a remix of a song that already was a hit back in the day, and then it becomes a hit again. Not because you did anything new. It's just because, the groove is there. People liked it. People liked it, so it's going to perform well again. And that's the formula that a lot of these companies are taking right now. They're just going to try to reheat the souffle, so to speak. Ian says, Fender 65 Deluxe Reverb is my reissue. I don't mind that, actually. Happy to own one. Yeah, I'd grab a 65 for sure. Those are great amplifiers, and sometimes I don't even realize that. It's like, oh yeah, that is a reissue. But yeah, some stuff. And my argument is this, guys, and some people can, you can prove me wrong on this one if you want. But I strongly believe that, a lot of the old gear is not necessarily better than the new stuff. In other words, if you're going to buy an old guitar or a reissue of that guitar that's being made today, which one is going to be better? Now, yes, the older one is going to have more mojo, for sure. The older one will probably be more valuable because it is rarer. But in terms of build quality, construction, materials, those kind of things, could we honestly say that the older stuff was better? I'm not sure about that. I think you could definitely land on an old guitar or amplifier or whatever, that is an old one and a good one. But I think you're going to have to kiss a lot of frogs to be able to find that one. I think you could still say that there's a lot of old stuff out there that is not that good. They weren't all winners. Just because something's old doesn't necessarily make it better, in my opinion. And a lot of the old amplifiers, for example, when we're specifically talking amplifiers, a lot of those amplifiers out there, man, if somebody's selling an old one, I'm reluctant to buy them because I know that if the guitar is old and has never been maintained, and when I say maintained, I don't just mean, taken care of in the sense that it's not beat up. What I mean is it's never had maybe the tubes replaced. It's never been recapped or, checked. It might even have the original plug on it that doesn't even have a ground on it. Like all that stuff is going to have to be put up to date for the amplifier to sound good. Some of these amplifiers have never even been rebiased. So you listen to these amps and they don't necessarily sound good. So you would have to buy an old amp and probably put in another $300, $400, maybe $500, depending on what needs to be done to bring it to a good technician that knows what they're doing, to bring it back to spec, to make sure all the values, all the components are good. And then you'll have an amplifier that would be worthy of being played without blowing up on you. But a lot of people don't understand that, and they think, I'm just going to buy I'm going to look for an old Fender amplifier and it's going to sound fantastic until smoke comes out the back. Jamel's here. Hey Jamel, what's happening? He says, good morning and happy new year to everyone here. Been dealing with 2 different illnesses and working insane hours between the 2. Good to see everyone here. Well, dude, I hope those illnesses are minor. And maybe don't work so hard, dude. Take care of yourself, man. Work can always wait. If you run yourself dry and, you get sick, you're not helping anyone at work, that's for sure. Boomerang says consistency is more apparent these days. Yes, agreed. That's because most of the stuff today is not being made by hand as it once was, unless you're dealing with the boutique builders out there. And even the boutique builders, there's only a small percentage of what they're putting together that's actually being made by hand. Most of it's still, CNC machine, stuff like that. So yes, the consistency, the quality control, I would say, would be better these days. Jean-Pierre says, like they did for Rock Around the Clock in 1954 and 1956, and for The Twist in 1960 and 1962. Twice a hit for both songs. Yeah, it makes sense. you know, sure, if it was a hit once, why wouldn't it be a hit again? Time Surfing Alien says, just happy with what I got. Budget guitars and a 20-plus-year-old Crate G80 amplifier. You know what? I remember, you know, Crate used to be more prevalent back in the day. There was a lot more of those Crate amplifiers being out there. I remember the Gorilla amplifiers. I don't know if they were actually made by Crate or if it was a spin-off company, but do you guys remember the Gorilla amps? Small little amplifiers. They didn't sound half bad. Paul says Marshall have accurate releases of the GMP 50, the Super Lead, and the JCM 800, but because they are handmade and over $3,000 USD, no one stocks them. You're going to pay a premium. Yeah, I had a JMC 800, man. I picked that one up. I think I paid it back. This was a long time ago. Probably about $1,000. Yeah, around $900 to $1,000. I should have kept it. What was weird about it was that it had an orange Tolex on it. And it probably was even more valuable because of that. And I didn't like it. I re-Tolexed it. That was probably a bad move. But it sounded amazing. That thing was so loud. You know, it was so loud. And that's part of the reason why I had to get rid of it, man. I couldn't crank it past 3. It was just ear-shattering loud. But it sounded so good. That's one of the amplifiers I regret selling. I should have just kept it. You know, sometimes you do things that are just seem like the right thing to do back in the day. Presley says my first amp was a Gorilla. Really? That's cool. Do you still have it? Probably not, right? MFN said I had a Gorilla in 1986. Yeah, I think it was around the 80s. I still think it was around the 80s. Yeah, I remember going to the music store with my cousin. I didn't own that amplifier actually. He bought it, and there was a really small music shop in the city that had a demo booth, and I don't know why we don't see this more often in music stores, but they had little demo booths. They were the size of like a phone booth, maybe a bit bigger. Individual booths that were soundproofed, so you can actually go in there with a guitar and an amplifier and just crank it. And that was a great idea, and that's what we did. And it sounded good. Not good back in the day, but it probably was back in the 80s. I remember it must have been around the 80s because I still remember they had just come out, Ibanez had just come out with their modular effects unit where it was like a rack that had like a wire going to a foot switch, and they had like 3 or 4 switches on it. I don't remember what the model of that unit was, but it had like 3 or 4 different effects built into it. And that, I'm pretty sure, came out around the 80s. Dave says, does anyone remember Gorilla Snot? Isn't that for drummers, Dave? I think that was some kind of cream or something that you would put on your hands so it would make them sticky, so you wouldn't drop your sticks. I think they still make it. I'm pretty sure they still make it. Time Surfing Alien says Gorilla Snot is what we used to call butyl tape. Butyl tape. Eddie says PV Decade was my first amp. What a piece of crap. Or maybe it was a more operator error. I don't remember that one, the PV Decade. I owned a couple of PV amplifiers in my day. I think I owned 2. At least 2. They weren't bad. PV is kind of middle of the road, you know? It's like, it's not going to piss you off. It's not going to be terrible. It won't be great. It's not going to sound like a Fender or a Marshall, you know? But it's going to kind of get you part of the way there. So Dave says it's sticky stuff so you wouldn't drop your pick. Yeah, the stuff I saw, the Gorilla Snot, the one I remember was actually meant for drummers. Let me see if it still exists. I'm going to do a Google search. There's this cool thing called Google, folks. It's amazing. It's like you ask a question and it gives you an answer. Gorilla Snot Gel. Hold on, is this the same stuff? Gorilla Snot. It says a non-gooey, naturally refined tree rosin. Gorilla Snot reacts with your body's natural chemistry and heat output to retain a steady grip on guitar picks. So, I guess you're right, Dave. It's guitar picks. But I could have sworn there was a version that was meant for drummers as well. But I guess so. It's about $8.99 for like a small little jar of this stuff. You can get it at what is this? Big Bang distribution, I guess. It's a little small jar, and it's some kind of resin. Yeah, interesting. I don't know if you need to buy this stuff though. You know, you can just like eat some General Tao chicken with your fingers, and then not wash your hands, and you'll have the same effect. And it won't cost you like $10 or $12. So Ian says, I owned a PV Decade. I liked it. Try to buy one today. Thanks to Queen of the Stone Age recorded an album with it. Price went sky high. Yeah, it's funny how that happens. It doesn't take much, right? Somebody uses something, it becomes popular, and then kiss those deals goodbye. Did the Bad Monkey come down in price? Remember when it wasn't that long ago when we had there was a run on the Bad Monkeys because somebody said that they sounded like a clone. Let me see here. Let's see if you can get them for a regular price again. Yeah, they're still expensive, man. So I'm looking at some prices, and these are used prices, eBay, Reverb. So like $174 on eBay, $225 on Reverb, $233 on Reverb. That's crazy. That's crazy. Anyways, it is what it is. That's what we're dealing with today, boys. Music and Gear says, ever seen a PV Penta? If not, look it up. Great tube amp. It rings a bell. The PV Penta. That's more of a high gain amp, right? Yeah, I'm just going to do a quick search. If I remember correctly. They disappeared, I think, hey? PV Penta. I don't think you can get them anymore, right? Or can you? Probably not. It has like a 5-way switch on it in the front. 140 watts. That's crazy. Yeah, 5 different personalities. That's interesting that they would do that. So they had British plexi voicing. They had the bull icon produces a modified British voicing with tons of added gain and a tighter low end. The tree icon lays on a thicker British voicing with a loose attack and a slightly more gain, while the mud flap girl setting is super high gain voicing with more responsive EQ and power amp section. Think triple X, which is, I guess, the triple rectifier. The cactus setting is simply put fat and clean. So why didn't this amplifier do better than it did? Well, first I would say that it's too much wattage, man. 140 watts. You're gonna blow your doors right off the hinges. They should re-release something like that in a smaller package and maybe less wattage. It probably would do well, but I don't think PV's done much lately. If they had a low wattage switch on that, that might be, it may have been better received. I don't know if it did or didn't. I never owned one of these. Rob said, I used to pine for the classic 30, but never pulled the trigger. One of my amp regrets from the early 90s. I had a classic 30, and I had the bigger version with the two 12-inch speakers in it. And that one, the one with the two speakers in it, sounded overall better in my opinion. Decent amp. Dave says, always remember the Les Paul Jr. was a beginner instrument until some asshole recorded a hit record with one. That's what usually happens. I know. So Paul says that he rented a 100-watt Plexi in London, UK in 1971, but then he bought a 50-watt JMP50 Plexi. I've owned 3 over my lifetime, also a Blackface Super Reverb, Bassman, and original Twin Reverb. So, you know, a lot of people do talk about the Twin being an amazingly loud and amplifier. Which one would you say, Paul, was probably the loudest of the bunch, or perceived loudest? I know the Twins are extremely loud. The Bassmans too can get pretty darn loud. Super Reverbs, you know, they can hold their own. But I'm just wondering, compared to like one of those Marshalls, which one would you say comes out on top? And Dave says, buy the cool picks. They get stickier the warmer they get. I haven't tried those. I can use some picks that stay sticky. I drop my picks all the time. My fingers are really like, I don't know if you guys are getting the stiff fingers, but in the wintertime, especially in the morning, man, oh, my joints are so like, I need to like, you know, I think get those stress balls or something and just like do some hand squeezes to get the fingers like moving again. Oh, the joints are just terrible this time of year. I don't know what it is. Everything's starting to hurt. Let's see here. Somebody says, Time Surfing Alien says, I have a Les Paul Jr. Well, the Epiphone equivalent special 2. So has anybody brought in some new gear over the week? I was really worried that NAMM wouldn't happen this year. Now, because of the fires, now I don't know all of the geographical locations of what's in California and what is located where. But, when I heard the fires and I heard California, and I'm like, oh, I hope this doesn't affect NAMM. That would be a big, a big disappointment if NAMM was canceled because of the fires. But I seem to have read somewhere that they announced that it's going forward. And the reason why, I look forward to NAMM every year is because everybody's going to be launching some new products, and I'm, waiting to hear what's coming up. Let's see here. Let me see if they have anything on their website. Do they have any kind of announcement on their website here? They don't mention anything. It's business as usual. Oh, no, there actually is a message here. So there's a message at the very top of the page. Let me share that with you guys here. All right. Can you see that? So the very top of the page, right up here, it says, we are monitoring the Los Angeles wildfires and their impact on local communities outside of Anaheim. Our thoughts are with those affected, and we remain committed to supporting members and partners through the tragedy. And then you have a full statement here. Okay, so yeah. So the president says that, what does he say? We are closely monitoring the wildfires and devastated. Okay. Anaheim is located 60 miles southeast of the wildfires. Okay. And is currently unaffected. We are actively working with our partners in Anaheim and the local authorities to ensure we have accurate and up-to-date information. Both Los Angeles International and Orange County airports have remained fully operational based on the latest information. It will be able to take place. So it's happening the January 21st and 25th. So it's, you know, a couple, not that far away. Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad. That's a relief. Let me just get back to. Let's get back to business, boys. Where am I? Sorry. I'm just trying to get back on screen. There we go. So yeah, so that's good news. Looking forward to seeing some new products there. I know that there's going to be a lot of great stuff. There might actually be less of a turnout because of the fires, obviously, because even though it's 60 miles away, I don't know if people will want to actively go into an area, you know, like that. And maybe there's a lot of other people that are going to be affected. Like I know Dave Friedman was talking about, you know, people that he knows that were affected. I don't know if he was or not. Hopefully not. So there might be people that, you know, will pull out last minute. Hopefully not. I've been actively keeping my ears to the ground to see what's being announced, if there's anything interesting popping up. And there is a couple of things that I've seen come over my radar. Now, let me see here. Yeah, there was something that I saw that was pretty cool. You guys remember, what was it called? I did a review of that product. Fretlight, I think it was called. Do you guys remember the video I made on the product that you can take and glue or little strips of LED lights that you can stick to your fretboard, and then through an app you can light up the different notes on your fretboard? Well, there's another version of that coming, which is called the Light Jam, apparently. Light Jam shows you through LED lights exactly how to play your new chords and, you know, just learn how to play the guitar. And I think it's actually built into the fretboard this time. I don't think it's the same company. It's a different company doing this. I think it's a cool tool to learn how to play guitar, but it does have its limitations. I mean, the Fretlight was interesting, and I thought it was, you know, cool, but ultimately, I think sometimes if you rely too heavily on gadgets to help you learn how to play, you don't really learn how to play. It's kind of like you're kind of trying to cut corners, and there's really not. I haven't found an easy way to learn how to play guitar quicker. You just have to put in the time, and the more time you put in, the faster it's going to go. But a lot of people try and find shortcuts. It could help somebody if you want to learn basic chords and whatnot. I don't know how much this device costs. I'm not really sure. But there'll probably be more information on it once NAMM happens. So if you're interested in perhaps tools to help you learn, that could be something interesting. But I wouldn't necessarily, because it's a whole guitar. And then if you, maybe you could just disable the LED lights and use it as a regular guitar. But it's kind of dorky to show up at a rehearsal with a guitar that has a whole bunch of lights in the fretboard. You know what I mean? DMAC says NAMM is in Anaheim, quite far from the fires, with evacuations through vacancy with evacuations through vacancy rates are nil right now. Okay. So you think it's still going to be like business as usual? Okay. All right. Like that. Yeah, if you don't mind, please help the channel grow. I would appreciate if you guys can give us a quick thumbs up. Helps the channel. And by the way, I've disabled any type of advertisements because they were really annoying. And I decided to just disable the advertisements altogether. I figured out how to do it. And so we're not interrupted anymore. And I think that's the right way. So Mark says he's got really bad tennis elbow, carpal tunnel in his left fretting arm. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I don't know if it's just me or the age or what, but it seems like everything hurts. When I go see my doctor these days, I tell him, I go, Doc, listen, there's a little spot on the back of my left knee. It's about the size of a quarter. That's the only spot on my body that doesn't hurt right now. Is that normal? Yeah. Rob says, yeah, Tony, feeling the fingers now that you mention it. Yeah, man, it's like everything's so like, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't help to be in a winter climate here where it's always cold and, you know, a little bit damp. I would prefer to be somewhere warm. I'm sure those aches and pains will go away quite nicely. Eddie says, and he's asking this question to Music and Gear. Do you know if they make a notched straight edge for a fanned fret guitar, or should I just buy one and Dremel it to fit? I don't know what we're talking about. That a fanned straight edge. Are you talking about a fret level? Or just to be able to check to see if your frets, your fretboard is level. And David said the GHS video that made the Bad Monkey sound like all the classic overdrives. That was the one. That was the culprit. Yeah, GHS ruined it for everyone. When they did a side-by-side comparison and they said, oh yeah, the Bad Monkey definitely sounds like a clone. And everyone went ape shit and just, you know, had to get one. The prices just skyrocketed. So the guy from GHS is kind of like the Oprah Winfrey of pedals. He just has to mention a pedal and say this is good, and everybody goes out and buys it. You know, it becomes an instant success, an instant hit. Josh Scott. He's the guy. He's the guy. Josh. Nah, he's a cool guy. I like watching his videos sometimes. Alex says, Tony, love watching your show. Thank you. Sunday mornings helps me feel less depressed about going to work on Monday. I know what you feel like, and I'm sure you're not alone. Alex, you're not alone, dude. That's why we have to like help each other out. Get over those Monday blues, I guess. Yeah, I hear you, dude. Punk Rocket says, that's a slick guitar. I always wanted a Tiger finished guitar. Yeah. Well, you can get these guitars. You can get your own Tiger finished guitars. This is a decal. It's a sticker. You can put it on your, you can buy this online. See, I got one in the front and in the back. Instead of painting the guitar, you can just stick them on, and then when you get tired of them, you can pull them off. The advantage is you actually protect the paint on the guitar from getting nicked, and it's kind of like a car wrap. Same idea, but for guitars. You wish he had a showroom. Yeah, maybe he does. I don't know much about Josh or JHS. So I'm not really sure if he's got a showroom or not. Hey guys, I'm thinking about doing some kind of a giveaway for you guys. Since we're 2025, I haven't done one in a while. And I was thinking about that, and I think maybe, what we can do, and you tell me what you think. If we do a giveaway, maybe we can do something fun and kind of playing along the same lines as what we did for Uncle Larry, or at least what I did for Uncle Larry. What if you guys do something like where you do a video and either mention why you like Addicted to Gear, why you tune into Addicted to Gear, or maybe even do a Tony Addicted to Gear impersonation and just post it. And then we could look at them and see who did the best job, and perhaps the winner will get something something interesting, a cool product maybe. That could be quite fun. What do you guys think? If that's something that you guys might be interested in doing, maybe I'll announce it on my channel, and we can maybe let it run for a couple of weeks, have a couple of laughs, and see what happens. Wayne says, Tony, I sent you a picture of my SG build. Did you get it? I probably did, Wayne. Where did you send it to me on Instagram? Did you send it to me on via email? I'm not really sure. I would have to take another look. Let me know. I'll take another look. I'm pretty sure that I got it. I just maybe haven't seen it yet. Oh, by the way, last time I was online, I mentioned to you that there was a CD that I had. And yes, I still do have CDs. Look at this. I found it. At least one of the CDs. This comes in a set. This is disc 1. It's made by Chess. It's called the Chess Blues Rock Songbook, the Classic Originals Disc 1. And I was talking to you guys about this because we had mentioned how a lot of the songs, at least in blues, were ripped off by other artists. And I bought this a long time ago, and you could probably still get it somewhere. I'm not really sure. But it basically it has a whole bunch of songs that were originally recorded by the original artists and eventually ripped off by someone else, or even parts of it. And there's a whole bunch of cool songs on this CD, double CD. There's your Hoochie Coochie Man by Muddy Waters. There's Mother Earth by Memphis Slim. There's I Don't Know by Willie Mabon. John Lee Hooker, Sugar Mama. Ice Cream Man by John Brim. What else we have in here? We have I Just Want to Make Love to You by Muddy Waters. My Babe Little Walter. I'm a Man, Bo Diddley. The Seventh Son, again by Willie Maboon. Trouble No More, Muddy Waters. Roll Over Beethoven, Chuck Berry. Anyways, a whole bunch of cool songs on here. So if you're if you're a blues fan and you want to know where a lot of the original songs came from, take a listen to the CD. It's pretty cool. Thomas is here. Hey, Thomas. Thomas seems to be new. Welcome. Do you have any information about Band-in-a-Box software for backing tracks? Have you used any similar? Band-in-a-Box? Not really. There used to be a great website called Guitar Backing Tracks. They don't exist anymore. They were probably taken down. They were probably sued, or, I don't know exactly what happened. But I used to like to use them. Let me check. Maybe they're back. Where I used to get a whole bunch of backing tracks that were basically songs that were full songs like the original, but without the guitar part. So you were able to download these songs. For example, let's say you want to learn a Led Zeppelin song and you want to learn a whole lot of love. Well, they had the vocals, the drums, the bass, everything except the guitar part. So you were able to actually practice playing with the song without the guitar. And it was fantastic. And I was really heartbroken when I saw that they were no longer online, because I would get my stuff from there all the time. Now, if you guys know of another place that has something similar to that, let me know, because I really thought it was fantastic for learning how to play. Hey, Jack. Yeah, sorry, dude. Jack says, hello, everyone. I thought it was supposed to be tonight. I messed up, Jack. Sorry. For whatever reason, originally I had put 10:30 p.m., and then only realized later that I made a mistake and I changed it to AM. So I'm glad you saw the mistake and join us, found a way to join us earlier. That's my oopsie. Sorry about that. So Dave says, baby, please don't go. And walking the dog. And Ian says, I like the fog hat version. And those blues guys were so badass. They definitely were. So Dave says he found an 11-minute backing track of Santana's Smooth with no lyrics, but the scales used are on the screen. That's cool. Where did you find that? And Vinny's World says, I think the best way nowadays is to use a plugin to create the stems and just mute the guitar track. I don't really know how to do that, Vinny. Maybe you can send me some information on how to do it. I'd love to learn. Music and Gear says, and I thought you were just trying to trick me on the live stream time, so I miss it. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that, man. I look forward to seeing all of you guys here. No tricks. SB says there's a bunch of good $50 pedals. So I assume if it's a big giveaway, $50 pedal is okay to take. It could be a pedal. It could be something even better than that. Maybe it could be a multi-effects. It could be, who knows? I don't know yet. Eddie said I should give away one of my Tokai Les Pauls. If I do that, it's going to have to be quite a good impersonation. Boomerang says, I admire your courage. Courage for what, Boomerang? For making fun of me? Yeah, it could be fun. Why not? It could be a lot of fun. I'm all for, any kind of tongue-in-cheek parody. Boomerang says, Tony, what was it that helped you decide to create a YouTube channel? I'll tell you. It's basically, I was creating reviews of pedals, amplifiers, and guitars before I realized it could even be a thing. I was just doing it to kind of put the information out there and to give my opinion and to also hear what other people thought of my own gear and stuff that I had in terms of equipment and stuff. So I wasn't really doing it because I wanted to start a YouTube channel per se. I would just throw something on YouTube and see what happens. And, even today, I don't necessarily spend a lot of time anymore creating videos every day. A lot of people that are content creators will just put any kind of content out on a daily basis, even if it's not really valuable, you know. And I never believed that's what I should be doing, like just to put a video out because, you know, you need to put something out. I kind of wait and I see, you know, what I want to do and why I think it would be valuable to review a certain piece of gear and stuff like that. So as you can see, I'm not necessarily putting out new content every day. I trickle them out whenever, and probably will continue doing that. I don't feel like I need to saturate anybody with useless attention-grabbing videos that don't really provide any value. You know, I try and give value as much as I can, you know. So that's how I did it. And I started getting people watching, and, you know, it became interesting for me to hear feedback, and I just kept on doing it. David said, Vintage Blues channel, Tony. And Ian says, clone pedal, maybe? Maybe. When does your band play again, says Profile Productions? That's a great question. I don't know, man. Lately, we've been having a hard time getting something on the calendar. We've attempted a few times recently, and for whatever reason, there's always been somebody who can't make it. And I think overall, winter's not a good time. I think we kind of lose momentum during the holiday season because of, you know, Christmas, New Year, holidays, people traveling, you know, people taking holiday breaks and stuff like that. It's kind of hard. So I'm hoping to jump back on it maybe in February. Hopefully. We'll see. But I want to get something on the roster again because we're going to be so rusty, it's not even funny. SB says algorithm is messed up. You need to be consistent in order to grow channel. The moment you stop, your channel starts dying. I know it's exactly how it works. YouTube wants you to create stuff every single day. So am I going to start making videos and say, hey guys, I took a dump today? Guess how many? You know, like I don't think that will bring value to anyone. And, you know, it does take a lot of time to make videos, and I want them to be decent. I'm not saying I'm the best content creator out there or anything like that, but I think you should definitely not waste people's time as much as possible. So this is why I like the Sunday morning hangs a little bit more, because it's more personal, and you get to answer questions, and you get to talk to people, and sort of, you know, they can ask specifically what they're interested in hearing from you, as opposed to waiting for you to pop out a video that, you know, might touch upon the topic that they need help with, you know. Rico says, Tony, love your channel, especially our Sunday morning hangouts. Thank you. Looking forward to a great 2025. Me too, man. Me too. I think 2025 should be a better year. And Boomerang says, I like the messy bench videos too. The social aspect is good here. I like that too. You know what? And I do have a lot of guitars that need some TLC, so I might start doing a few more of those. I like doing those because it's basically like I have to do work on my guitars anyway, so why not just, you know, turn on a camera and show you guys what I'm doing, and maybe it's beneficial for somebody. If it can help somebody, why not? Dave says the band I work with gets hurt more in the summer when everyone goes camping or boating. Yeah, summer vacations. Yeah, that's another period where people take off. Yeah. And Kevin says, video some of your gigs where we can see you. There's a couple on my YouTube channel, Kevin. Kev, if you want to take a look at it, they're there. Like I mentioned, there's hundreds of videos out there. You guys probably don't realize how many videos I actually have on my channel, but if you take a look, you'll see there's quite a few. And there's a couple of videos there of a couple of like rough rehearsals where we just turned on the camera and just recorded whatever we were playing. There was probably a clip or two of a show that we did at one point, stuff like that. So Dave says, count the corn of what? Count the corn for your chance to win a Tokai Les Paul. You really want to have something to do with, you want to take that, my favorite guitar, away from me? You can't do that. Ian says, was it a fart or a shart? Leave it in the comments. I swear, some people that I used to watch on YouTube, I stopped watching specifically for that because it got to the point where they were just talking about anything, you know, and it's like, okay, this no longer, I can no longer spend time watching this stuff because it's not valuable anymore. Music and Gear says, I didn't do a new video for 2 months. YouTube killed me. It's funny to see how YouTube works. Yeah, man. They want you to work for them, right? So you're creating content that they need to keep people watching. So they want to make sure you're one of those. Jack says, Tony, I have a question. I'm looking at some more pickups called the Tesla Sharks. Yeah, I bought a set of those, dude. I have a video on that. You guys are going to get tired of me saying that. But there's videos. There's a lot of videos, man. I'm going to do my my Trump impression. Videos. They're great videos. We got videos. The best videos. I did one on the Tesla Shark. Go to my channel. Here, maybe I'll find it for you. Hold on. Give me a sec. We got videos. The Tesla Shark video I did was an upgrade of one of my Tokai guitar. And here it is. I'll share it with you. I'll put excuse me, I'll put it in the chat. There you go, sir. Don't say I don't give you anything. The Tesla Shark video is 7 years old. And I still have them in my guitar. They're in my... do I have it here? Yes, I do. Here, I'll swap guitars for you, okay? Give me a sec. Close your ears. I'm going to put this guitar down and grab the other one. Give me a second. Tesla Shark. Tesla Shark, otherwise known as Slash. Because if you spell it backwards, it's Slash, right? Something like that. I don't know. Oh, man. Out of tune, out of tune. All right. Dave says, look for a cheap pedal called Roto Engine. There are a few makers. You'll be surprised. I have a Tom's line. What are we talking about, Dave? Give me a second to tune this thing up. E flat. So I'm looking for pedals that are affordable. And so if you guys have inexpensive pedals that you want to recommend to me or the group, I'd love to hear. I mentioned last week that I picked up a relatively inexpensive pedal. I picked up one of these, which is the Joyo Bright Day Overdrive. You guys remember? I showed you this. Cool pedal. I'm really liking it. $50 around there. So yeah. So that's the Tesla Shark pickups in this guitar. Watch the video. I did the swap between the original pickups that were in this guitar, the original Tokai pickups, and the Tesla Sharks. They're decent. They're decent pickups for the price. They're still in here. I haven't taken them out. Vinny's World says, Tony, DM'd you on Instagram with the links to a few free tools. Thank you, Vinny. Appreciate it, dude. You are awesome. So the Roto Engine, Dave says the Roto Engine is a flanger, Leslie emulator, and chorus in one. 3 settings. And you like it? Sounds good? Okay. I'll check it out. If you say so, Dave. I'm always looking for new stuff. So anything you guys want to recommend, I'm all over it. Am I going to NAMM? Andrew wants to know. No, unfortunately not, dude. And, you know, especially with what's going on with the fires and stuff like that. But I can't go to NAMM because I'm going to be somewhere else at that time. I'd love to go next time. And I've been saying that for a few years. But I swear I'm going to go. There maybe, you know, there was the, during the outbreak, you know, things were a little bit wonky. We weren't sure if NAMM was going to continue or not. And so didn't go then. And then the year after still was kind of up in the air. But I'd love to go. I'd be like a kid in a candy shop over there, man. I'd be looking at all this stuff. I should plan for next year. Next year, 2026 maybe. Jack says they must be good. They've been in your guitar for 7 years. They're decent. I mean, I can't complain. I don't think they're any worse than any other ones. This is the neck bridge. I mean, they sound okay. Paul says to Dave, he says, Tom's line is made by Moore and is one of 30 companies that get rebrands of Moore pedals. They discontinued making the Roto for any of those 30. So you can't get it anymore? That sucks. And Dave says, our guitar player gets sweet ZZ Top chorus sounds for Fool for Your Stockings. Yeah. I'll take a look. Maybe I can get it somewhere used. Dave says we must have got a late shipment. I got our last one. Okay. I'll take a look. You know, there might be some floating around somewhere. Very cool. Roto sound. A friend of mine put a Tesla Shark in his Gibson 335, way better than the Burstbuckers he took out. He says Jeff. I was never a big fan of the Burstbuckers. I had some in one of my guitars and I took them out too. I tend to go 57 Classics. I just like them better. Dave says Michelangelo Beato has a bunch of Tom's Line signature pedals. They're still available online. I'll take a look, Dave. Nulla says, Tony, have you ever been to a guitar show? Are there ever any in our area? They have one in the Detroit area every year, but I haven't been in a long time. I need to go. In my area, there's really little rinky-dink shows. No, there's nothing big, unfortunately. I'd love to go if they had a big one here, but they don't. They have like really small shows. There's a couple of like, acoustic guitars, and they sell like picks and strings and stuff like that. They're nowhere near the size of NAMM. So it's not really fun for me to go to those. I was about to go to one just for fun, and often they're a little bit far too. I don't know. It's not the same. It's definitely not the same vibe. SB says, I like Burstbucker Pros. They seem more on the bright side, judging by my friend's Les Paul Studio Faded. I'm still waiting for those Behringer pedals to come out. I still want to get those. The clone. I want to get the fuzz pedal, and I still want to get the other one, which is the what is the other one? The clone, the fuzz, and the Univibe. Yeah, that's it. They're probably going to start selling them at NAMM or after NAMM. So they haven't popped up in any stores yet. So I can't order them yet. Jack says, I love the 57 Classics too. I have 57 Classics in my Epiphone Standard. That's my go-to. That's usually what I like. Are the LX strings legit on Temu? I don't know, man. I wouldn't necessarily buy anything on Temu. If I wanted to get something original, authentic, I would probably just buy them from the store. I think you're risking it. I've read a lot of stuff where people are saying that, a lot of this stuff is not necessarily real, counterfeit. Just to be on the safe side, just go to your store and buy them. Are you gonna actually save all that much? I wouldn't risk it. Jack likes my shirt. Thank you, man. Yeah, I like the shirt. Look at all these cool guitars. I think it's appropriate for the show. I've been eyeing a really interesting amplifier, and I've owned a Supro amplifier in the past, but I like the excuse me, I like the Black Magic Reverb. Have you guys seen this? They have a combo, and I believe it's a signature model from Tyler Bryant. I think some of those Supro amps are pretty cool. And now apparently they say the combo brings more power, blendable channels, and headroom for pedals. But if you crank it, you get some really nice, sweet overdrive. So I want to take a look at it because I was very pleased with one of my Supro amps that I had in the past. I got rid of it just because, I don't know, it was overlapping some of the other amplifiers that I had. And I was looking more of that, I was looking for more of that early Jimmy Page sound. And it was definitely good for that. But it kind of was redundant for what I had already, so I got rid of it. But they say that for this one, they've upgraded it with 35 watts of Class A power. So it's 35 watts, should be in the sweet spot. The blendable channels with this amplifier will be cool because on the previous one, it was one or the other. You couldn't blend them together. So I think if you can blend them together, you do have more versatility available. And they have a new bright cap modification on channel 1, which again will add some additional flexibility and functionality in terms of tones. Channel 2 keeps the original Black Magic circuit, and it has a real tube driven spring reverb and pulsating tremolo feature, just like the one I had as well. And I love reverb. You got to have reverb on these amps, and it's not that big. So some of the things that people don't like about it is they say it's a little bit too mid-heavy. So that might not appeal to all the players, and the reverb may have too much of a long decay time. So if you're not a fan of reverb, but then again, you can always just kill the reverb completely and go with a digital reverb or something like that. Plus, when they say it's mid-heavy voicing, I mean, that's nothing that you can't fix with an EQ pedal or something like that. So I'm going to check it out. I want to see if I can maybe play it somewhere. I got to see. You don't see them that often here. Jeff says, I just ordered a new amp, Tony. PRS Hendrix 20 head. Peach are clearing them on a deal for $399. That's cheap, dude. $399. Well, of course, not $399 US. We're talking different currency here, but that seems really cheap. That's cool, man. Congratulations. I think you should speak to some people here. I think Mark, if I'm not mistaken, had one of those as well, the Hendrix 20. I don't know if Mark is still around or not, but maybe he can pipe in and let us know how he liked that amplifier. I don't even know if he still has it. But if Mark's around, let us know, Mark. Ian says, with a Telecaster for a Jimmy Page sound. You have to go with a Telecaster for a Jimmy Page sound. A lot of people think that the original Led Zeppelin tones were all coming from a Les Paul because Jimmy would normally play a Les Paul. But in the early days, it was all Telecaster. So the Jimmy Page Telecaster probably sold more Les Pauls than any Gibson Les Paul ever did. It's funny that it works that way, but you know, Fender actually was helping Gibson, I think, at that stage. Paul says the 57 Classics are tied with the Duncan Pearly Gates as my favorite pickups. Yeah, me too. I haven't tried the Pearly Gates. They're expensive, but if they're tied with them, then I'm happy to hear that because I love the 57s. Dave says that's about 500 US, which is not a bad deal for, a decent, Hendrix type, I guess, Marshall inspired amplifier. And Dave says the shipping back to the States would kill you. Yeah, and probably the same for Canada. Jack says I can't afford to see more Duncan pickups. And Music and Gear says, love the JBs. They're workhorses. Yeah, I like the JBs too. I have them in one of my Kramers right now. Yep. I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. Let me just go into here. So the Black Magic is something I definitely want to take a look at. I think that would be quite interesting. And also I wanted to point out, if you guys are into acoustic guitars, there's a really nice looking acoustic guitar that Harley Benton released. And it looks really nice. Like, it's very subdued. And it has an OM body. OM meaning the O-type Martin body. Solid spruce top. And rosewood plywood back and sides. And it looks really nice. I don't know if if you guys have seen this at all. Let me show you let me pop that on the screen here. You know, you don't always have to go crazy and buy really expensive stuff. So this is what the guitar looks like. So you can see it's very subdued, nothing flashy or anything like that. It looks really nice. Look at the back. Look at the grain on the back there. It looks quite nice. I think that looks really sweet. You can get a more close-up view of it, of the back there. And check the tuners on. I mean, the front, I'm not a big fan of the HB on the top. They could have maybe designed a nicer looking logo. But look at the tuners in the back. Open tuners. They look quite high end. And it looks like a sweet looking guitar. So this guitar is not very expensive, you know. And for anybody looking at maybe picking up a budget friendly acoustic, this could maybe fit the bill. Curious to see what that would sound like. Maybe I could get one in and try and see if I can do a review for you guys as well. Let's see here. Adelson says nonsense discussion, he says. I don't know what that means, but Boomerang says someone inquired in the not so distant past regarding FRFR. Given they were powered, another option would be any cab / speaker powered by a solid state rack amp. There's a couple of different ways you can approach, powering a speaker. But the thing is, I mean, the thing I like about the flat response speakers is that everything's in one easy to carry little package. Integrated, the amplifiers in there as well. So you just have to take one thing. It's easy to get to a gig and bring it with you without necessarily having to carry multiple cables and different components and stuff like that. So I always grab one of those if I'm going through a multi-effects unit. Rob says, "Do it, Tony." I'll see Rob if I can. I will. I'd like to. How long have we been chatting here, guys? We've been chatting for a long time, an hour and 45 minutes. Okay, I think we're going to have to pull the plug on this one. We're going to have to pull out the hook. We still have 53 people here, which is cool. If you guys have any last minute questions, put them in the chat. We'll answer them. But I don't want to stick around too long. I was only intending on staying for about an hour, and I've already overshot that for at least an hour. Dave says 2022 Strat body paired with 80s Kramer focused neck. We can laugh, but it plays well, and I made it. Why would I laugh, man? Sometimes the craziest combinations feel the best. I don't know. Music and Gear says, my whole channel and live streams are nonsense discussion. That makes my channel. LOL. Thanks, Marcel. Thanks for reminding people to do the thumbs up thing. I would appreciate it if you guys can hit the thumbs up button on the way out. That would be cool. SB says, thanks for the hangout. Nice day all. Time to go. But hey, until next time, stay safe. And Music and Gear says, my title, and I'm picky about it, he says. All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in this Sunday for show 239. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back again next week, next Sunday, for show 240, and I'll let you know about the contest. If we decide to go forward with the contest, I'll make the announcement on my channel so everybody, not just the guys that come in on the Sunday shows, but everybody else could participate in that as well. I think that'd be cool. It'd be fun, and you guys get an opportunity to win something cool. Rico says, I ordered a used JJR Junior combo from Reverb, whatever it was, Thursday. They bumped Saturday. Now nobody knows where it's at. Wish me luck this week. Oh, dude. So what? They lost your order? Hey, I'm sure it's going to turn up. Don't worry about it. Keep us informed, Rico. Hoping that it comes, they actually... you get it, and it's not in somebody else's house right now. And Jack was saying here, Tony, is the Tesla Sharks, can you have a push-pull pad on them? You can set up push-pull on them if you wish. The pickups don't come with anything. But you would be able to do that if you get the right pots. Yep. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I had a blast today talking to you guys. Hope you have an excellent Monday, and I hope the week flies by so that it'll be Sunday before you know it again, and we can do it one more time, all right? Stay safe, guys, and go and practice your guitar. Come on, stop scrolling and go and practice a little bit. I'm going to do the same. All right, guys, peace out. See you soon.